Hey guys, Sean from TrailGrid Pro. Do you own a 2016 to 2023 Toyota Tacoma with a factory radio that you just don't like anymore? Well, today I'm going to show you how to get a huge technological upgrade for your Tacoma. So today on the table, you see two different radios. The first one is the Kenwood DMX-958XR. Now this is a 7-inch capacitive touchscreen mechless unit, which means it has no CD or DVD drive, but gives you all the functions that you're ever gonna need. So you'll have the ability to have wireless Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. It's got HD radio built in, 3 RCA pre-outs, as well as 3 camera inputs. It's Sirius XM satellite compatible, and it comes 100% plug and play, ready to go into your 16 to 23 Toyota Tacoma. And over here we have Kenwood's flagship unit. So this is the DMX-1058XR. Now that's a 10.1 inch floating touchscreen. Gives you all the features of the 958, but adds an additional camera input, so you get a total of 4. Now both of these units will come to your home completely ready to install, all plug and play, all your harnesses, all your adapters, your antenna adapter, your USB adapter. If you got the Sirius XM option, that'll be in there too. Your Maestro will be flashed and ready to go for your specific year Tacoma. You will also get TrailGrid Pro's exclusive mic mount for the Kenwood radios. Now that will go exactly where your factory microphone goes. So whether you choose the 958 or the 1058, you're in for a huge technology upgrade, giving you things that you only wish you had with your factory radio. So let's go over some of the tools that are going to be necessary to complete both the disassembly, the installation, and the reassembly. So what we're going to need is we're going to need a screw gun or an impact driver. We're going to need a socket, potentially a socket extension, a 10mm socket, a panel tool, a pair of dikes, and some wire ties just in case we want to get any of the wires cleaned up and out of the way. So now that we've gone over all the tools necessary, we've gone over both head units, I'm actually going to install the 1058 today, but I'm going to walk you through the 958 in case you've decided to go that route as well. Not very much of a difference between how we're going to go ahead and install either unit. So we're going to do that all in this video at once. So without further ado, let's hop right into the truck and start the disassembly. All right guys, so now we're in the truck. We're ready to do the disassembly of our dash and remove our factory radio, so we can then go ahead and get our brand new Kenwood DMX-1058XR installed. Super excited about that. So first step in removing the dash is we need to remove the radio bezel. So you can do that one of two ways. You can use your panel removal tool, or you can just use your hands. I prefer doing it with my hands just because I don't want to mar up the dash or anything. So I'm going to start here and just gently give a little pull and then work my way the whole way around. So, and there's my dash piece. We can go ahead and set that down out of the way. So now that we have our dash out of the way, we'll see our 4 10mm bolts that hold our radio in. So you can do that again one of two ways. If you have 10mm socket and wrench, I like to just use a small impact gun to remove it. Makes it a little bit quicker. So go ahead and remove all 4 of those bolts. So now I have all 4 of those bolts. I'm going to go ahead and just put those in the cup holder. So now my radio is unbolted and I can pull it out of the dash. So we can just slide it right out of the dash. Now you'll see we have lots of connectors that we need to unplug. So go ahead and remove all of the connectors. So we have the antenna connector, the USB connector, we have our big one there, and then we have our speaker and our speaker and power. So now we have that out. So one thing I always suggest, keep your factory radio in a safe place. You can always put this back in and remove your aftermarket head unit if and when you ever decide to trade in your Tacoma. So I'm going to put it in the back seat for now. So let's go ahead and grab our Kenwood DMX-1058XR and begin the installation. So whether you're doing the 1058XR or the 958XR, the installations will be identical until the point that we put the dash back on. And I'll walk you through that when that time comes. So now I have my 1058XR, everything's ready to go. We need to do two things before we can actually start making all of the connections. First thing that we're going to want to do is unplug our OBD2 plug. We're going to have to run that from the dash to the lower side of the driver's dash. That's where our OBD2 connector is. And then we're also going to have to go ahead and run our microphone in our Tacoma mount. Now I'll show you how to do that. So the microphone mount is super easy to do. We're going to go ahead and just remove the Kenwood strap. Now the microphone will slip down in, and it's a nice tight fit, so you just want to kind of get it all the way in, looking just like that. Now this will end up being installed in our headliner in our factory location, so I'm not going to actually do that on camera. Just know that that's where it goes. It does come with complete step-by-step instructions included in your bundle. So now that we've gone through that, we'll go ahead and get our OBD2 connector dropped down the dash, and we'll go ahead and drop our microphone down as well. Now you can run it either side. I like running my microphone on the passenger side and then dropping this obviously down the driver's side. So, but completely up to you, however you want to do it. It's 100% fine. You just want to make sure that you tie all the wires up on the driver's side so they don't fall down and get in the way of the gas or the brake pedal. So let's go ahead, get our OBD2, drop down the dash here. We'll get our wire tie off, set our radio to the side, get it all stretched out. So if you just move the wiring out of the way, you can actually reach pretty far down in and just get it dropped down. And then reach just up under the dash and grab it. So you want to make sure you have plenty of slack to get it plugged in. So let's go ahead and make our OBD2 connection. So we have our cable here, plenty of length. We're going to connect it right here to the OBD2 port. So make sure that it is plugged in correctly. So super simple, just plug it in, and then you can hide any of the extra cabling below. Now here's where you may want to use some wire ties to make sure it doesn't fall down while you're driving, and then you can wire tie any extra behind the center console here. Use a nice wire tie, make it nice and clean. The main reason for the OBD2 connection is to get all of our information that we would like: TPMS sensor, door open, speed, tach, so on and so forth. So once you have that done, you can go ahead, hop back up, and get the radio installed. So first things first, let's go ahead and get our OBD2 connector plugged back in so we don't forget. Next, we can just start pulling some of our cabling back out. First thing I have here is our antenna connection. Make sure that's plugged in, locked in. So from there, now we have our USB connector. That'll be the gray plug here. Get that plugged in, make sure that's solid. And then we have 4 white plugs that we need to plug in. So first we'll grab the bigger plug, get that locked in. And then we have the 2 smaller plugs. Get that lined up, locked in. And then the smaller blue plug plugged in. And then finally our thin plug here. So now we have all of those plugged in. Now when you run your microphone, you're going to want to make sure you plug that in. That will go right here. So we'll go ahead and get that plugged in. So all of the other connections will already be made. The Maestro connection, the rear camera connection. If you have a front camera, you'll go ahead and plug that in now. And if you have any additional items such as aftermarket amplifiers, RCAs, remote wire, so on and so forth, you'll get all of that stuff plugged in. So now we have one more cable that we need to plug in. That is our GPS cable. Now if your factory radio had the GPS option, you'll plug directly in to the factory cable into this white plug. Now this unit did not have the factory GPS antenna on it, so we'll actually remove this. So we will go to our extra parts bag and grab the Kenwood GPS antenna. So this is absolutely required if you want to be able to use the wireless Android or the Apple CarPlay on this unit. So easiest thing to do, go ahead and just get that plugged right in first. And I like to put these right in here. You'll see the vent right up top. You'll just remove the sticky and stick it right to the top of that vent. As long as it's not blocked by any metal and it can see the sky, you're 100% fine. So now we have everything plugged in that we need to have plugged in. Now this goes for both the 1058 as well as the 958. We're going to go ahead and get everything back inside the dash and get our unit bolted back up so we can just get everything in there, making sure that nothing is in the way. So we just line it right up. It'll fit exactly. So once we have it in there, you can go ahead and put all 4 bolts back in. So remember to always start those by hand, just so you don't strip them out. There we go. So now we can grab our 10 millimeter and go ahead and tighten each one of those up. So now our head unit is installed. All our bolts are in. Again, 958, 1058, going to be the same up until we put on the dash. So let's go ahead and grab our dash piece. So the 1058, we want to make sure that our 2 display cables are out and they go in between our opening. So everything kind of lines up. Go ahead and just push it on. Now, if you're installing a 958, you're all done. You want to turn on the car, go through your kind of like your checklist, make sure you set your clock, everything like that, hook up your phone, whether it be Android or Apple, and start to enjoy your radio. Now, if you're installing the 1058, we have a few more steps that we need to do. We'll have to slide on our display, plug it in, bolt it in, and then adjust where we actually want our display. So let's go ahead, grab our display, get everything ready to go, and I'm going to show you how to do that next. So now we're ready to install our display. A couple things we want to have: display, our back plate, and inside your install parts bag, there'll be a small bag with 6 screws. 4 of them are actually to secure the display, and then the 2 small black are for the cover plate. So to install the display, we have our 2 cables here. One's blue, one's gray. The bigger gray one will go up top. Just slide it in and lock it in. Make sure it's good. And then the smaller blue one will go underneath that. Slide that in like such. Now there is a way to get the cables to kind of go through the middle there. You'll just kind of get that in there, locked in like that. Now it's easiest to have these arms all the way down, so go ahead and pull them down, and you'll just slide the display on like that. And so now we can kind of gently lift it back up. So now we have the ability to adjust our height wherever we so choose. Now you'll have to remember that when you do that, you're going to want to make sure that the holes on the display line up to the holes on the actual head unit itself. So, you know, kind of get it in a general position of where you think you want it. And then we'll go ahead and grab the 4 silver screws to screw those in. So I'm going to start on the passenger side, get the 2 of those in, and then we'll move over to the driver's side and get those 2 in. So now we want to line up where we like our display and go ahead and start the first screw. There's 1. There's 2. So now we can go ahead and move over to the driver's side. So now we're on the driver's side. Go ahead and line that screw up. And then the second screw. So now that we have all 4 display mount screws in, it's time to put on our backing plate. Here's where we'll use our 2 small black screws. They'll go into either side once it slides down. Now you'll feel it click in to the holders, and then if you look over, you'll be able to see that the little screw holes are lined up. So from there, we'll grab our 2 little black screws and we'll put 1 in on each side. Tighten the first one down. And we'll go ahead and tighten the second one down here. There we go. So now we can go ahead and move our radio into position. So now everything is installed. We have our radio installed. We have our OBD2 plugged in and run. We have our microphone run to the factory location. Now it's time to go through the setup and turn this thing on for the first time. So the first time you turn it on, you'll get this opening screen where you're going to go ahead and do some setup. So first we'll go ahead and tap clock. We'll make sure everything's set. So Eastern time zone, 12-hour format, perfect. Depending on where you're at, you're going to have to change that Pacific, Mountain. So next we're going to go into our display in button. So we can actually adjust the color of the buttons here. So let's go ahead and just change that to green. So that changed the bottom here to green. Go ahead and get back out of that. We can click our viewing angle depending on how we have it in the dash. Now this is adjustable angle wise, so depending on how you want it, you can adjust that. I'm going to leave it alone. Back out of that. Go into the camera. Make sure that your camera interruption is on. And if you want the factory guidelines, leave this off. If you want the Kenwood guidelines, you can go ahead and turn that on. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it off. Then we can go in. We want to make sure that demo is already off. And other than that, we can go ahead and tap finish. We can tap agree. So right away, it'll kick on to here. We can go into our HD radio. We can pair a Apple phone or an Android phone. So let's go ahead, hit the 9 squares here. That'll give us our main control here, everything that this will be able to do. We can slide over, check for the gauges and stuff. So let's just go ahead and check the vehicle info. So right now it says my driver's door is open. All my TPMS has adjusted and everything's good. My battery's at 12 volts. I do not have a check engine light on, so that's a good thing. So right now on my pitch and roll, we can go ahead and let's see, what do we want to use here? So right now on the pitch and roll, you can actually tap that and you can just tap it and change the icon on the screen. So we'll go to a truck and get out of that. So we'll go back to our home screen. So down at the bottom, we have our most used. We can adjust and change that as well. So let's just go ahead to HD radio. Everything is working there. So we also have, if we had Sirius XM, we would tap the Sirius XM. For Bluetooth, for iPhone, our USB, which is just below our heat and AC controls. HDMI, that's an option if you so choose. And then we have some of our bottom there, our vehicle info, our pitch and roll. Slide over and then we can go to our gauges. It'll tell us everything we have. Now obviously the car's not started, so nothing's really going to show up there. So let's go ahead and pair our phone. I am an Apple user, so I will pair for wireless Apple CarPlay. So first thing we want to do is hit the little gear for the setup. Want to make sure we're in connection in AV. Let's go to device list. Right now there's nothing. Let's hit the plus. So now we're going to go ahead and open up our phone, go to our settings, go to Bluetooth, and wait for the DMX-1058XR to pop up. Tap that. So we'll get our yes and our pair. We're going to allow our favorites to sync and connect to CarPlay. So tap yes. So now we're connected. So there we go. So now we can tap the home screen or it'll pop up automatically. So now you'll see that with the 10.1 inch screen, you actually get most of your information right here. So you actually have 3 rows instead of the standard 2 rows. Still slide over just like you could normally. So now we can go to anything we want. So we can go over and go to, let's go to Spotify. So now one of the cool things about the Kenwood is they actually give you a knob. So you can turn the volume up and down with the knob, as well as your steering wheel controls. Really great feature that Kenwood did. Radio sounds really, really good. So I'm super stoked about that. Now on the bottom here, you'll see some other buttons. So your voice button is where you're going to hit to activate either Google or Siri and get directions, make new text messages, ask them to call a specific person on the phone. The next button here is the cam. You can actually get into your rear view camera at any time, whether you're driving, you're sitting still, doesn't really matter. You'll always be able to get at your camera. And then your home button here, that will actually take you to your home screen. So you can go to wherever and then just tap whatever you're on to go back. So it's such a huge upgrade in sound, technology, user-friendly features. It's easier to use. This thing is awesome. It looks great in here. So if you guys are looking to purchase either the Kenwood DMX-958XR or the Kenwood DMX-1058XR, please visit us at trailgridpro.com. And as always, guys, have a blast out there.